welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good.
Better than Blake Monroe. So we got a little distracted because there was a bit of an oopsie doopsie on NXT.
Look,
Whatever
I don't,
happened to Mariah May?
I don't. Okay, how can I best put this? I don't want to be the jerk who is celebrating in someone's downfall or something like that. But dear God, to have someone walk out on what was a big money contract to follow their dream, and this is what happens. I just shake my head because, like, you, there's I cannot comprehend a way that she is happy with how this is going, and also not kicking out at 2 the way she was supposed to.
It was really weird looking. Like I don't know if Tia, is it Tia Hale is her name?
Yeah,
Yeah, hell.
It's really weird if you watch it, and I don't know if dumbass was putting a little too much like weight and pressure on her and she couldn't.
well, you
Let
see
me.
after the 3 count, Monroe's arm shoots up real quick, which leads me to believe that she missed it. Now, could there have been too much weight on it? Maybe, but that's not the conclusion that
Well, I mean, is it?
led to.
Well, that's also a Blake Monroe problem because I feel like if we were having a match and you had too much weight on me for me to get my shoulder, I'd be like, hey, asshole, get off me. Or at least
I had
I'm
someone
just.
try to do that to me once to try and shoot pin me, and he was a big old fat dude. But I was able to get my shoulder up every time. Um, I don't know, man. It just
and I have to say, this Tia Hale, like she doesn't cover it very well, and it's like one of the most low energy title wins I've ever seen a human being have. Like the whole production doesn't know what to do. The ref takes forever to get her the belt. She doesn't really even do anything, and I hate the whole like I'm kind of crying and holding the belt. Like, just do something different, like please.
be excited.
Well, especially like it makes sense like with like Bailey, and it's like this whole journey, and it's a big moment. But like you're just like some mid Carter that won it on TV. Just be excited. Like you didn't have some story building up to it. It's not like there wasn't this big chase. Like you just won the belt.
Yeah,
And also like Blake Monroe's like getting up in the clip. It's like do the underdog thing and take the belt and run away.
Mhm.
get out of there. Yeah,
Yeah. But
I don't know.
we also so we're gonna be doing the Hallmark game. Shad has provided us a list of real and fake Hallmark movies, and Matt and I are going to have to decipher them. But first we do want to talk about because um there are people that liked it. I'll give it that, but it was I would say was hated by the live crowd, and I would say it's been pretty. I haven't dug too deep. Would you guys call it controversial online?
I would say from the
Divisive?
spaces that I have been in, and okay, I'll put it this way: from out of morbid curiosity, poking around Reddit / r squared circle, it seems like a very evenly divided response. That's the phrase I'm going to use.
So, well, of course, we're talking about the John Cena's final match. Now, I have a question for both of you because I was
Wait, hang
very.
on, Matt. What have you seen? Because I know you've rolled in some different circles than I have.
I mean, I'm mostly on like Twitter. Right? The response has pretty been very overwhelmingly negative. Like, to the point. Well, I also should like wait for we get into a little more. But there was one of the top uh tweets about it,
Mm-hmm.
and well, it's unique. I say people are shitting on it, but it's also unique, which we can get into a bigger discussion about it. But it's unique in that they're not just being like, "Oh, I didn't like that finish." They're putting squarely the blame on like Triple H for his booking of this. Now, I get that on Twitter or online, you're gonna get a more like, online, like more focused,
Yeah.
like there. If you're just if just someone who watches like the TV or whatever, you're not going on forums, you're not going on social media looking at stuff. So maybe you don't know all the details. You're not
Right.
smart. But with the people that are like are online, even like their fans, whatever, people who give the WWE like a lot of leeway, or if they prefer the WWE, just shitting on and also blaming Triple H, like what this is bullshit. But one of the top tweets for it that they did like 2 days ago. So it was at this point it was like Sunday. It was like maybe the day after Saturday Night Mid Event. Uh, it was someone who posted like a 30-second clip from Breaking Bad, and it's the infamous scene where Hector kills Gus Fringe with a pipe bomb. uh, and it's if you've seen Breaking Bad, you don't know the clip, but it's Hector is they're all like drug dealers, but Gus Fringe is played by uh, Giancarlo
Giancarlo?
Esposito.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hector is in a wheelchair, and Giancarlo is visiting him in like a hospital, and Hector has like a pipe bomb that's like strapped underneath his wheelchair and is activated by this like button he presses. And he presses it, and Gus Fringe, like at the last moment, realizes, oh my god, like he's triggering a bomb, and he tries to escape, but he dies. Like they blow up. Anyway, the clip is that clip. The tweet is me. Is this the person who posted goes me pretending to be a Make a Wish kid to meet Triple H. It's like that's really
Wow.
dark and hilarious. But
I
the thing that's
posted
interesting to me,
I posted the GIF just as a joke, and Shad made a side
yeah,
joke about how John Cena literally killed thousands of Nelsons, and I posted the no hope, and he just dies from
yeah.
South Park.
The thing that's interesting about that tweet though is that it has over 13,000 like retweets, and it has 107, probably over 107,000 likes. So it's like, I know that's a small sample comparatively, but it's like that's a lot of people
Well, for their
who at
audience
least
these
thought it was
days,
funny. Yeah.
that's a sizable portion.
Yeah.
Did I don't know if it came across you or anything. What did Ibu say about it? I'm just curious because I'm thinking he was
I
not a
I'd
fan.
I don't think he
I'd actually
liked
have
it.
to
I think
look.
he was against.
I think knowing him, that sounds like it would have pissed him off.
Well.
Let me ask you this, because we don't really watch the WWE anymore. Did either of you watch it?
No, I only watched
I
clips after the
watched the
fact.
end of the match.
Okay,
I didn't
so
watch the whole
Can I
show, 'cause-
explain why I didn't watch it? Well, one, because it's WWE, so I don't care. But like, two, they went about it in such a way that like did not get me to want to watch it like at all. Like, I thought the tournament was stupid. Um, Gunther was not like an opponent that really interested me. They didn't like really interact at all during the year. I would have actually. I mean, I don't like Punk, but I even think like I would have been more interested in Cena and Punk again, even though it would have sucked. Like, I think it should have been someone that at least he had some sort of like personal issue with, or just someone they had built it throughout the year. Like, but the way they had treated him throughout the year, I just was not interested. And the tournament I thought was lazy and just took any sort of sort of I don't know, suspense out of it. Honestly, like I was thinking about it today and I was like, I think they should have just shifted the Dom series over to the last match being him and then Dom.
My
Dom wins. I did see someone, maybe it was Meltzer, kind of go with your same line of thinking in that it should have been someone that Cena had his history with, like Orton, or I think he mentioned
Punk, Ray,
Punk. Well, I don't know about Ray, but Punk.
Give Ray his
and
win back from that one Raw.
Punk and Orton were two of the names that I saw. Like, and I guess I kind of get it. Gunther, it's like that's a whole other like story. They're really, he's the one who retired Goldberg, and now he's retired John Cena. So I think that they probably are going to try and do something with that. Um, I mean, allegedly, AJ Styles is supposed to be retiring this year, so they may be, doing something like that with Gunter too. But he's an interesting case because like I saw another tweet someone posted. It's like why Gunther? Because like he doesn't he doesn't move merch like nothing. He doesn't move the needle like whatever. And it's like
because he's a heel,
I don't know
and
if that's exactly true. I
and
don't know if that's exactly true, but it's also like he's a weird enigma because it's like he even posted a tweet where it's like like professional wrestling one. Like he's like I'm a professional wrestler, and it's like yeah, but you're in like the sports entertainment company, and I guess according to Meltzer, because I don't watch Raw. On Raw, like he came out, like, cut a promo, and it was like well received. He was hated, like or whatever. And it's like I don't know how he was really like booed or whatever.
It
But I don't
was.
think that their
I
audience
saw the
cares
clip.
about
It
him.
was pretty. It was as heated as I've seen anything they've done
now
in the last
I'd
while.
be interested though. So my concern with that is okay. So he's getting heat, but is it good heat or is he getting go away heat now?
So, do you remember the Roman after WrestleMania, um, where he came out and everybody was pissed at him and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't quite that, but he was definitely getting heat from the crowd there and playing into it. Now, the thing that cracked me up was that because I don't know why it was a slow work day and I ended up tumbling down a rabbit hole I shouldn't have, but to see people's responses to him of it's time to get his Nazi ass out the company. I'm just like, what's going on here?
Well, Shad,
Um,
it's because Nazi now means nothing, and they call everything Nazi now. So it literally, like,
yeah,
I've literally not to go super political, but I've heard people called Nazis for not being horrible anti-Semites by certain people in the
yeah. So,
online space. So it's a meaningless clown word now.
but it's people.
They did that weird
Basically,
stuff with them early too.
there was early on there was a lot of heat to it. He played into it, and apparently they gave him like 10 minutes for it or something.
Ugh.
So I don't know,
10
but
minute
I just
promos, 10-minute promos are not ever
well,
good.
it wasn't him talking the whole time.
Wow.
That's the thing. He's out there, and the boos are coming in. He goes to say something, they come in some more, and he like specifically picks out some people to jaw jack with, and there's a kid at ringside yelling at him, and he picks on him and that sort of stuff. So,
So we don't
um,
so we don't know is kind of the problem. I'm not anti Gunther, just by the way, but I am curious if this is gonna transfer into like heat or go away heat, and I'm a little concerned that they might have given him go away heat.
my um, my takeaway from it is yes, he got plenty of heat for it. My problem was that there's not
No one to give it to. There's nothing to do with it.
out of everyone you could have had on the roster to do that with. It feels like that while you were probably going to get the best match out of Gunther with him, Gunther was the person who needed it, one of the people who needed it the least. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I feel like he's at a point where why I kind of agree with that is I like him. I thought he was pretty good as a world champion. I enjoyed some of his stuff last year. But I also feel like he's in a spot and you're not going to get him any like you're not going to push Gunther into like another atmosphere of stardom. He's like where he's going to get. Like you're not going to get him any higher up the ladder. So you're just kind of like throwing all this stuff on him that's not going
I
to do much for him.
I
If we were
yes and
playing if we were playing like Madden, he's like an 88 or a 90 like level player and you're not going to get him into that like 95 plus like super mega star range because he's kind of capped out.
It, in the WWE, I would say yes, largely yes. I'll do a slight disagree because I think you could build him up to the point where you could, in theory, main event Mania with him as a heel, either as champion or facing a face champion, or as a heel champ with the face, challenging them or chasing his title, or like as a heel challenging a face champion. I think you could do that, and by main event of Mania, I don't mean night one. I mean like the last match on Mania, which is the true main event. I no offense. I know there are people like to think that
Night
oh,
one's
the main
not.
main event, it's not at night.
No.
No, you could have 100 nights of WrestleMania. The last match is the actual main event,
Yeah.
and
I
that's, to me, that's for any show. Like when Wrestle Kingdom was doing like multiple
yeah.
nights. Like, no, any
No, well
show that's
see,
multiple
I
nights,
that's
the last match is the main event.
why I hated that for Wrestle Kingdom is they a lot of times put the IWGP title match, which is the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, on night 1,
Yeah.
and then night 2 was a
Mhm.
wet fart because you already saw the biggest
You already
match.
saw the money
I,
match.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I hated those when they were doing, though, because you get like a crazy match, like, I don't know, Ibushi versus Naito,
Mhm.
or Okada. Who's gonna Okada? Who's gonna win? Like Okada or Osprey, it was something, and it'd be like you would win. One of them would win, so you either retain or a new champion, and then you have to immediately, if it's a new champion, to immediately like defend the next night.
Yeah.
Or if it's not, it's the same way, they have to defend it again, and sometimes they actually like change the title. It's like, I kind of don't like that. Like, I don't want that. But anyway,
Well,
we're
and for
digressing. Point is, like,
the IWGP, just to
I think,
go further on it, I defending it
yeah,
twice 2 nights in a row is not how Japanese titles should work either. So
yeah,
now I do want to say I find that as an interesting idea of could Gunther ma- sorry, it's been a
me,
day, main event
yeah.
night 2 of Mania, and I think he could defending. I do not know how he would do challenging, but I think that's an
I think
interesting thought exercise.
I
Um,
think he would work better as like your big babyface champ, like chasing him.
yeah,
And I really don't. I would not want it to be. They don't have anyone. Like, so I don't know. If that was this, if that's going to be the case, let's say with this thought experiment, this upcoming Mania, the person who would be chasing him would either be like Cody, which is like, I don't want that, or
no,
Punk, because I
well,
really don't want that. Because
well,
like, who else? Jey Uso? Like, I go, dear God, I don't want,
but
I
like,
don't want that.
but like, I don't want Cody because that means Cody would have to lose it to chase it again, which would just be dumb, and it devalues the title, I think. And then they're kind of doing like it's kind of been okay so far, and mostly on the Braun end, but like I think they're gonna do Punk and Braun at Mania, which I think is better long term for them. So I don't know what
I
you do
was
with him.
I would
going
say this.
to
Okay, I'm sorry, Shaq. Can I finish one
go
last
ahead.
thought? I would say,
Go ahead.
because you were talking about Gunther, like he's as high as he is. I just said, like, I think you could build him up, especially if you're doing this Legend Killer gimmick. You know, kind of like stealing from Orton, a Legend Killer gimmick. But if you're doing that, you could bump him to the next level where you could get him to as big of a heel that he could main event night 2 of Mania. But that's not that much bigger than where he is now. Like, it's a little bit bigger, but it's not that much bigger.
No,
But you're right. I think you're largely right that he is where he is pretty much going to be in the WWE. If they were talking about AEW or like New Japan, he could get that at the higher level. He could be like the monster heel that just like destroys everyone. And you could be getting so much better matches out of him than you would that he's going to get in WWE. You wouldn't have him tapping to Jey Uso and losing the title to Jey Uso. Like he'd be having like world class matches with Hangman Page, Okada, Fletcher, Takeshita, even like an IWG in New Japan where like it's really like they're dragging the barrel there. Like he would still be having like better matches than
Yeah.
you're going to see him have in WWE. But it is what it is. I do fear that Gunther is going to be uh he's going to edge into that Finn Balor category where it's like, the best years of his life are in this company that they don't care about the wrestling, and so he's just, eventually he'll just wash out. But
Well,
I'm
and
sorry,
I
Chad.
don't.
What were you going to say?
He could be. I'm kind of agreeing with you. Do I think he could be bigger than he is right now? He could be. Do I think it'll happen? No. Because if you want to have him be bigger, I mean, frankly, what he needs to do is beat Cody clean, take that belt, and then be an arrogant dick with it. And then that way you have this monster for them to go kill. They won't do it though,
What he's but
because you can't have regular merch sales off of a rotating cast of challengers.
well, and
So they won't do it.
I also think he's kind of long in the tooth as like an act because they had the IC title on him forever, which meant nothing,
Hmm.
and they had the Beta Cuck title for quite a while,
Mm.
which meant nothing. And I think if you just put the regular title on him, I think he's dangerously close to that where people are going to be kind of ho hum about it because they've kind of seen it already. And the other problem I think with this is like, who does he even work with really? Because like they are really thin on anyone that
That's
anyone
true.
gives a shit about.
Who are you going to? Yeah, who are you going to pair him up with? That we haven't already seen.
I mean, because
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be different.
like I think a face Jericho would, but you don't want to like just feed Jericho to like you're automatically in a lose situation there because you can't really. I don't think you want Jericho to lose right out of the gate, and you don't want to have him beat Gunther either.
Yeah.
Assuming Jericho goes to the WWE, which a lot of people are speculating. Although if I was
Maybe
Jericho,
not now.
if I was Jericho, I'd be looking at like the Cena retirement run, not even just the final match, the entire run. It'd be like, ooh. But I like Jericho. There are a lot of people who like hardcore AEW fans who hate Jericho. They can't. They would just die in happiness that he's left AEW for the WWE. I'm not necessarily one of those people, and I say that as someone who it's like I don't even know where he would technically fit in AEW if he stays. I always kind of want him to stay. I don't know where he would fit, but if he were to go to the WWE, isn't Jericho like 55? Which I know like that's certainly no
He's
barrier in WWE to get a
yeah,
big
he's
mega
around there.
push, but
I mean,
I just
he's in
I
better.
wouldn't push him as like a serious like main event or even upper card level.
Yeah, the problem
Like you
is
could
though
have some storylines with him, but
he's still a better. The problem is though, even at his age, he's still a better worker than like 60 to 70% of their roster.
Jericho has
he's
always
better
been
than a lot.
smart and capable.
He's better than Jey Uso, who they put the title on the
Yeah.
last like calendar year.
And especially since he like got in better shape and stuff. I mean, he still is pretty. He's still pretty light on his feet and stuff for his age. Like he is impressive for his age. Like he's obviously slowed down, but he did have that resurgence for a while. And I mean, like honestly, like the rabid haters of him in AEW, like those fans, like honestly, fuck off. Like no one cares about your opinion. Like you're mad at him for things. You're mad at him for things you think he did that he most likely didn't. So
it's really overblown. The hatred, like Jericho's last run as the Ring of Honor champion and the King of New York and the Learning Tree stuff, kind of all blended together, worked. It's a mid card thing. It put Bandito over big. It helped build somebody new.
Brian Keith
It
helped
worked.
him too.
Brian Keith got a lot more time on screen. Brian Keith and Big Bill as a team, got a lot more visibility. That worked, and they weren't going to have Jericho back up the top of the card, and he knew that. They knew that. Everybody knew that. It is at this time, if I was going to put Jericho back on the AEW roster, the question is going to be, all right, from the get-go, who are we building up? Who are you going to be building up? Because you've got enough credibility and you've got enough, intelligence about this and that sort of stuff, we're going to pick somebody and we're going to help you build them up and make them
I I
into
know
something bigger.
exactly. I know exactly what I would do with him if I brought him back. I
Okay.
would have Steve Borden work with him.
Hmm. Interesting.
It's interesting too, and I want Steve Borden to work out, but he's had like probably what less than a handful of matches.
He's
So
been the stuff I've seen. His aptitude is pretty good. I'll say that it seems to come pretty naturally to him. But he's a second gen guy that does happen. He does need a lot of work, but like Jericho would be a great thing. Like he can be. I mean, he's a big dude, so he could be a bodyguard for Jericho. Like there's a lot of things you could do with Steve.
I
do
I
you know
have
how old he
another.
is?
Uh, no, don't.
I he
I
I'm gonna get he's probably in his 30s. I don't think he's
Yeah.
like in his 20s.
I do have a different proposal for who to have him work with, and it to build him up and get him better and that sort of stuff is have him do a program with Billington,
No, yeah. Because I
and then you build the legacy aspect into it and all that kind of good stuff.
having him work with Adam Priest on his promos too would be really great. Getting him with some of that, like some
Some of
some
that
more,
good old
yeah.
Alabama going.
But I want to say like so. I was very stuck on if I thought Cena should win or lose, which then I realized because you guys were kind of talking, I'm like, no, they're kind of right that the finish of the match kind of overshadowed everything. So my question is, do you think if they had done a different finish or he passed out that it would have been as divisive as it was? Do you think the tap? Because do you think the tap is something that? Because I've seen some people upset and they don't mention the tap out a lot. Some people do mention it, but I wonder if there are people that can't verbalize that's why it bothered them so much. Because like for
I
me, the fact he lost, I was just like, well, it's wrestling. Like you rarely go out like winning. And the other thing is like people like that is the only thing on this I'll defend Triple H on was is the people saying he had him lose. Like nah, Cena would have demanded to go out and would have dug
have
his heels
thoughts
in
on
on.
I have thoughts on that. Um, Chad, you want me to just
You go
go, or do you
first,
want
and then I'll go.
Okay, so we all talked about this like offline, and I think Brad, like you and I are in agreement in that we don't mind that he lost. Like I was kind of ambivalent. Like it did.
Yeah,
I'm kind of the tradition. What is like in your last match? Like you count the lights. Like you lose. Like that's always been like the tradition. In more modern times, like that's been bucked because, for example, like what arguably the best retirement send off in recent years was Sting, obviously,
yeah.
and he won. He won his tag match, but he wanted to lose because he's old school. It's like, yeah, I'm losing like it's my last match, and the Young Bucks, who he wanted to be his final opponents, like they and Tony Khan, like they talked him out of it, and they told us like, no, like you should go out on top, and so he
They had to
did.
fight with him about they had to fight with him about putting the tag title on him because he was absolutely a
Yeah,
hundred. Because it was funny because they were like, because like they were picturing him backstage after he won it, and he was just so excited and like so happy because he like was,
yeah.
holding the belt again and stuff. And they were like, yeah, they had to fight with him tooth and nail to get him to accept
Yeah.
like. But I will say though,
Oh, wait.
counter to that though,
Mhm.
Danielson went out on his back.
Danielson went out on his
Yes.
back. We talked about
I
uh,
expect Tanahashi to go out on his back.
he'll go out. I feel pretty confident he'll go on his back. We
Liger
talked
went out.
earlier.
Liger went out on his
Yeah,
back.
we
I
talked
don't
earlier. Well,
know if Tanahashi will or not.
I think he will.
I think he
Anyway,
will.
please go
I
ahead.
think he will. As an aside, like we talked about this on the show before, but I know Brad and I are into Joshi. We don't necessarily watch it as much as we would like to, because it's, but I know Shad, you're not as much into it. But the the infamous match, the final match where she lost, she retired. But Tam Nakano versus Saya Kamatani, like uh Tam lost and she retired, and that was notable because you have to really like go into the whole lore of it, and they really did a deep dive storytelling. But that was like one of the best retirements I've ever seen. She lost,
That's
but
feud of the
the
year,
storyline
probably.
was so powerful. Oh, it was so powerful that it's like this is the the one company that loves to about being the cinematic company. It's like this was the most cinematic thing I've seen in wrestling in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
But point is, like, yeah, a lot of people go out on their backs. So I could definitely see Cena, who's been around a long time. Like he would be I'm gonna do that time honored tradition. I'm ambivalent about it. Like I don't need a guy to go out on his back. I get that you're doing because you're like I'm leaving. Let me put someone over to give back to the business.
Yeah.
I get it. So I don't care that he lost. The problem is twofold. One, it's how he lost. He didn't if he were to get choked out and he's just like fighting and then he passes out, like Austin did back in WrestleMania
Yeah.
13, like I'm gonna do the sharpshooter, but he's an ornery son of a bitch. He's not gonna quit. He'll never
Yeah.
quit. So he passes out, blood streaming down his face. If it was just like Cena, because he never gives up.
Yeah.
He just passes out like he's just choked out. He's choked out. He can't quit because he refuses to quit to the point where he's just gonna get choked into unconsciousness.
I
If that was
Right.
the finish he lost, it's like, okay, what does he do? He taps out.
Now, can I ask you a
And so it's
question?
like it's not never give up, it's sometimes
Yeah.
give up.
Can I ask
So
you a
that's hold
can
on.
I ask you a
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
for that?
Yeah.
So let's say instead of what they did, let's say Cena fights out, he gets the ropes, he gets out of the hold one time, and then Gunther just locks him up and pulls him into the middle of the ring and just even like does like the whole body scissor, and then he taps after he obviously like fought out once and it was clear he just had no, like, it was clear that he was like he couldn't do anything. And he didn't immediately tap, but he tried to fight and stuff and he just couldn't move Gunther. Like, would that have
That's.
stung less or would that have still pissed you
I
off?
mean, they did that. They Cena like fought his way up and almost out of it a couple of times before Gunther pulled him back in and snatched on the and snatched it back on.
His facial expression was weird on the tap out too. I did not like that.
So, Matt, go ahead and finish your thought, please, because
Yeah. So that was part one. The other part two is that, and this kind of goes when like the overall. I think this it's unfortunately not for unfortunately for me because I screw Triple H, but it's unfortunate for some people in that pretty much the entire Cena retirement run was garbage,
Oh, it was
just
terrible.
garbage. So if it had been like this stellar, like amazing retirement run, and then like a wonky like finish where he taps out, people would have been like, I don't like that finish. But they would probably excuse it, but it was mostly just garbage throughout everything.
And it
And and you even had Cena to the point where Cena is like he doesn't care anymore. He's just like, yeah, they maybe turn heel and put the world title on me, but that was just to pop a viral moment. No one had any plan about that, which is like that's a total like screwing over Triple H because he's basically saying like, yeah, the Booker had no plan for me. He just did that, for a viral
I
moment.
I have a
yeah.
theory. I have a theory that they decided he needed to tap out for the viral moment and so they can put it in video packages, and like him passing out was not as like what's the word I want? I don't want to say
It
cinematic
wasn't as
because
visual.
they can't they can't
Yeah,
they can't they can't take him passing out and chop it up into like 45 seconds to throw in a video or like to beat
you,
their hand.
you
Yeah.
absolutely could. You absolutely could. You could show Gunther with his arm out and Cena
Yeah, but
and just like dying.
they don't think that way though because that's not lowest common denominator.
So, okay. Number one, I'm going to agree that the fans would have been happier if it had been a good retirement run, but this end was the same. Okay. Because they would have gotten what they wanted, as opposed to this screwball mess that we had. Cena comes back, he turns heel, it doesn't work. They don't support it. They just kind of leave it to wither and die. And then, I don't know, the way that I heard somebody say it was Cody's like, you shouldn't be a heel. And Cena was like, golly gee, I guess you're right. I'm going to be a face now. And so, and then you have this face run where,
He
by the
lost most
way,
of the
he
matches.
he gets squashed by Lesnar, and he doesn't really like. They had a few matches that were what people wanted. Cena teaming with friends of his and winning, because there was one where he was teaming with, I think, what did I see in the picture? Ray and Sheamus, and it's after the match and they're all happy and they're going to the back and everybody's cheering for it like that. Okay, cool. That's what we're looking for. But we didn't get that. We didn't get any of that. We got this disjointed weird mess that happened. And so that means that the fans were dissatisfied. And then you throw this on top of it and there's a lot of people finding nothing redeeming at all. The finish itself, I want to be precise with my words here. Uh, it sucks. And here I can tell you why. The selling of the whole thing, fighting, trying to get out, fighting, trying to get out. And a sleeper's not the most dynamic thing in the world to do it with, but if that's what you're going to use, that's what you're going to use, fine. Fighting to get out. And he's fading, and he's trying to get out. And then when Gunther locks it back on and we go into the finish, Cena goes from, and he just shrugs and he quits. And it is this complete spitting in the eye of people who are invested in it. It feels like, I should say, it feels like contempt for your audience of people who are excited and wanted to be part of this and wanted to be invested and they wanted to see this guy that they were a
Made
fan
a
of for
mortgage
so long.
payment and tickets.
Yeah, paid that much, and then you just see him shrug and go, golly gee, guess I'm done, gonna give up, which runs contrary to his thing for 20 years. Yeah, they saw the betrayal of this character that they enjoyed. It would be like if, you're watching uh the new Superman movie, and Superman, instead of saving people, well, that I can't even articulate that one. You just have this complete dynamic flip that's unsatisfying.
You mean the Zack Snyder movie?
Yeah, worse than that. Instead of Superman doing stuff to save people, it's just like, Superman, stop him, and Superman goes, oh, bam! Okay? And it's just like, what? Where did that come from? And the thing that makes it worse, because I am convinced that the finish was not the thing that drug it all the way into the dirt. Because what makes it worse is they did not let John Cena have the stage to himself at the end. John Cena is out there, he does his whole thing, he takes off the metaphorical boots. It's the shoes, but he takes them off and he leaves them in the ring, and he leaves like the armbands and stuff. And then first one out there has to be Triple H, which pisses off the entire building.
And he got booed.
Yeah.
Audibly booed.
Badly. Enough that even with them turning the crowd noise down, it came through. And then Cody and Punk had to come out there and part of it. Yeah. That was at the little post desk
Cody
thing.
came out, and I'm sorry, I like to hate on Cody, and I will continue to hate on Cody. But he came out, and it's like he's so fucking phony. That's my opinion of Cody Rhodes. But there's a shot of him that WWE of all people like posted on their Twitter. So it's like, okay, I get it. Where it's Cody with the title, he's like standing outside the ring, and he's like in tears, like crying, like emotional that John Cena's retired. Of course, he has the WWE title put on the ring right next to him, perfectly displayed. And he's like, and it's like, You're so
Yeah.
full of shit.
It is
This is like
so clearly
such a
staged.
What?
contrived
Yes.
thing.
You
It
know
is
what
It,
it's not even like, oh, this is a good shot, let's capture it. It's Cody's like, this would make a good picture. Let me put this here and let me stand here and get my expression right.
like if Triple H came out, which he just came out for attention, he should have come out and given him like a replica or brought out the spinner belt that's synonymous with John Cena and like given that to him, like and get done like a ceremony to say goodbye and let him talk to the fans, but they really didn't. Well, it what John Cena was trying to apologize for what they just saw, but um,
They would not let John Cena have the stage for his own exit.
that's just the
And
company now, though.
that 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 I'm convinced is what made this whole thing worse. Because if that had been the finish and everybody else has left the ring area and it's just Cena and he does his whole thing and then he leaves, then what you're very clearly saying is, okay, dude went out on his own terms. He went out on his own feet. He says goodbye to everybody and then he walks away. And that would have left a better feeling for everybody than he's out there. Golly gee, let's all go get out there too so we can mooch off of his heat. And it's just, it leaves an even worse taste in everybody's mouth. You put the whole thing together and it is a colossal wet fart. I don't know how well the match went. To be honest, the match was probably pretty good. But a bad finish ruins a match. Just like a bad finale ruins a series.
Yeah.
to go with what you're thinking, because this just struck my mind. To go along with what you were saying about how like they have to go in there and mooch and everything. It's like, and Brad, you're right. Like it is the company, but so they haven't made new stars, and you can actually even say even going to Cena, like they haven't been putting over new stars.
Mm-mm.
So I mean, Cena, I guess you could make some argument that he's putting over Gunther, but it's like what, near 40-year-old Gunther, like as like what the who's already established. It's not as if like Gunther would like maybe the most he did was like the IC title reign, and it's now like he's the one retiring. You're gonna use this to leapfrog him into main event status and be like a main event heel, etc. He's already been like world champion, and I'm sure they are going to do something with him, but they have aging star. Roman Reigns is part timer at best. Cody.
Part timer would be an upgrade to how much he shows up, honestly.
Yeah, Cody. Cody's a huge star. It's like Cody's 40.
Cody
Punk
has
is
been
like
out
40,
there.
45. Drew, like, who again,
Drew
they could
has
have
nothing.
made a real main eventer.
They have
put the title on it like once or twice.
Off.
Yeah, and he's just like an afterthought. Like they don't like Jey Uso is a complete
like
disaster.
They're trying to do like a Cody Drew thing now, and like Drew's gonna try, but it's just like, and like I don't mean this as a slight on Drew, but like the way Drew is bitch made now. He's in that Kevin Owens territory. When he gets involved with anyone important, it's like, I don't care, you're gonna lose. Like it doesn't matter.
They don't have. Sorry, Shat. Go ahead.
It's okay. Drew was the Brock killer, and then they pissed it all away and buried it in the dirt. Like they took him being the one that killed and buried Brock Lesnar for a while.
Well, and then got eliminated in the next Rumble. We have to remember that part.
Well, they lined him up in front of a ditch, double tapped it, threw him in, and threw a bag of lime over it. At this point, if you were to tell a new fan that, they'd go, "What, seriously?" Because I don't know why. I don't know who he pissed off. I don't know what it was. But they took a guy who they had gone through the trouble of making and then made real sure to unmake him. He doesn't win now. He doesn't win when it matters.
Yep. You know who was smart and got the fuck out was Bobby Lashley, because they would be doing the same. Well, they just weren't using him because, we won't go into certain characteristics that affect that booking,
but that's the thing. Like they don't make stars anymore, and they're running the guys they have who are stars from like years ago. a decade or so ago, or even people like who are newer, like Cody. They're older, so you need new guys. And I mean, I like the idea of Braun Breaker, but it's like, okay,
Yeah,
like that's one
I
guy.
I
You got
like
one,
Like,
yeah,
yes.
one.
Well, okay.
who do you
Hang
have?
on.
Who?
Hang on. Just for the sake of completeness, and I know you guys don't like him, and I don't particularly care for him myself, but I have to give the guy credit. He's found a way to get himself over. I've got to give Dominic credit for the fact that he is over with their audience, and he has found a way to succeed where I didn't think he was going to.
No, he did, but
So
I think Dom is as high up as he's gonna get. I
yeah,
think is
okay. Saying Dom is topped out where he is,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
But
I can
you're
get
right.
behind
He
that.
did find a way to succeed. If he could, I think where he's tapped out is he still sucks in the ring. He's just found a way
Yeah,
to get heat despite
he's
sucking.
he's yeah, he's found some charisma. He has some charisma, and like the character kind of works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that, again, what is your measure of success? Is if you're like, can Dom Mysterio main event mania, like,
No.
and that actually is a factor in this sense, because again, you're talking about guys like John Cena leaving, and he's really been kind of gone. But I mean, like, who do you replace with Cody? Cody's 40. Like, all your guys that are main event that you could sell Mania tickets, especially since you're going to be charging out the ass, where it's like, you want people to go to Mania, they have to take a small loan, you know, mortgage, do a second mortgage on the house to pay for that. Then you need to have like stars to actually justify. Like, you would charge me like hundreds of dollars for nosebleed seats to go see
No,
a
it's
Mania
thousands.
match.
There was
Like,
a guy that wrote into Jim Cornette and he was talking about when they were talking about the prices, he was like, yeah, I went last year and my same seat this year is like $1,300 more than it was last year.
no, yeah, I've gone to Manias. That many have gone to 3, but I went with friends of the show, Christy Petrillo, Damon Gonzalez, and that's obviously pre-kids. Like, I haven't gone because, it doesn't make financial sense, especially with small kids. It's like, but let's assume in the future, like, I could, in theory, do that. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, I'm not going to go to a Mania where one ticket would be like 4 figures or more, even if it's like high threes. If I look, Mania was special, so maybe you have to pay like a couple, ringside, you're like mid-level, whatever seat. I've got to pay like a couple $100. It's like, well, it's Mania.
Yeah.
Why would I want to pay like 500 or like Mania? Like, at a minimum, even if it's like, well, my wife and I will go, like, the kids could stay. I think we get a babysitter, the kids, whatever. Like, no, I would not pay
Why would
that.
I pay when I could go for a good vacation for what they're charging
Yes,
for
my wife and I just said that because we were talking, because Cena's last match was in DC. It's at the stadium. I used to live a 10-minute walk from that stadium. Like, I live down the street. I live blocks away from that stadium. And when they announced it there, it's in the DC area. I'm like, let me look. And then when I saw that it was going to, for nosebleeds, I think it was at least a few hundred just for nosebleeds. It may have
I
been
think it was
edged
like
up to like,
250. I think
well, no, like maybe when you first bought it, but I think like
oh, the resellers.
once yeah, resellers, I think it was like, even nosebleeds were like hundreds or even like
Weren't they
1,000
having
more. I'm like,
trouble
yeah.
weren't they having trouble moving tickets for that for a while?
I don't know. I think that they did a lot. They sold a lot. It was at least like over, I think, 10,000 easy.
You know what? The other thing, well, going back to Braun. So Braun is like the only young guy they have, but they're doing everything in their power to sabotage him right now with the Vision, because he's interesting. I think his promos have been good, but then he is just surrounded by such geeks you don't care about. Because like Bronson Reed, like I told you, I think
No
a couple
cares.
weeks ago, I went down a rabbit hole of recent entrances of his. He gets nothing. Even in Australia, where he's from, he got nothing. And then they just added Austin Theory, sort of. I don't know if they added him. He was the mask guy to no one's surprise. And they did the unmasking and I watched it and he got, I mean, it was a close up of him, but I'm pretty sure they piped in crowd noise because no one cared. And to defend him, well, this was stupid. So they have him unmasked and he shaved his head and he's doing it in the crowd, like, and so they piped in crowd noise, but I'm like, how would anyone even know who that was?
Well, people have noticed that because again, another trope, recent trope of Triple H is to just copy everything AEW does. People noticed that when Daniel Garcia joined the Death Riders, like he also did where it's like a masked man's attacking and then he pulls off the hood and it's Daniel Garcia. So this is what Austin Theory did. You know, the masked man attacks and he pulls off the hood and it's Austin Theory who doesn't look like Daniel Garcia, but you know, when he has like a shaved head like he does and he pulls off the mask, it's at least like a slight passing resemblance to Daniel Garcia. So it's literally like what they did with Daniel Garcia like 2-3 months ago in AEW. Like you just did the same thing, and we are on what third, fourth, fifth like rebranding of Austin Theory. Who gives a shit?
Nobody
No one.
does because they went out of their way to make sure to tell you not to care about Austin Theory.
Well, no
When
one
But
they
cared.
had Austin Theory,
he's never been someone that people have been like, oh my god, Austin Theory. No, and here, this is how you know that it's like if they probably did go over not well with people, is that they were touting up, oh, on social media, like the reveal of him, it got 4 million views, and it's like, yeah, does that mean 4 million fans were interested in this? Oh, we love Austin Theory, or was it that you've been hyping up this masked man, so 4 million people tuned in, which is not
it,
all. It's not 4 million people. It's some people like rewatching it or
Yeah,
whatever. But
that's a
it's like maybe
deceptive.
they just are looking to see the reveal. You know, it's not. If I had to look at your like the stuff you threw on YouTube, I doubt that I'm seeing like routinely people with 4 million.
But I
so
mean,
Even for like Roman Reigns, like come
here's
on.
the thing. Here's where they killed Austin Theory because they tried to get him over and tried to. Here's where I'm going to say that they just killed any credibility he could have. He had the Money in the Bank briefcase, cashed it in for a shot at the U.S. title in the middle of Seth Rollins doing an open challenge series and lost. Does the fact that it later, a month or something later, he won it in a three-way match matter? No. Because what you're doing, you're saying, this guy wasted his opportunity on a title during an open challenge series and loses. He's a loser. They
yeah,
went out of their way to tell everybody that. Whether they meant to or not, I don't know and I don't care. That's what they did.
no one cared about him during that run anyway because he doesn't have it. I wanted just for comparison's sake. So they're bragging 4 million people watched it on social media. Do you want to guess how many people watched the YouTube video of Starlight Kid getting unmasked on the official Stardom YouTube page? Because it'll make it much less
I have any
impressive.
idea.
2.6 million for a Japanese promotion with a far smaller fan base. With a legit star in Starlight Kid, but 2.6 million to 4 million. It's not that impressive.
Yeah.
But the
Uh,
problem is though. So then you're surrounding Braun with people that no one cares about, and like that chips away at your overness. Because like even if you
yeah.
watch like Braun and Bronson Reed tags, they come out for separate entrances because they don't want Bronson like
Oh,
sucking
just stealing all the heat.
no like sucking all the heat out of the room. That
Yeah.
but like so I just think like it's not they're not doing him any favors because the vision thing is just an albatross around his neck.
So even if you have Braun, like you strap the rocket to him and he beats Punk for the
What do you do
title
with
at
him?
Mania, like you could build him into a main star. I mean, he's a Steiner, like he's but then who else? Okay, like I think that, and here's something that it's like because this match was on the Saturday Night Main Event. It's like you want to actually make a new star. I don't think he's still green. He still needs work, but he has a little bit of something there. If you really want to make another new like instant main event star, you had Obafemi, the NXT champion, go out there and face Cody Rhodes, and it ended in like a DQ because Drew McIntyre like attacked Cody to like continue that feud. And it's like, how about you do this? How about you have Obafemi go out there and shock the world and beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes and pin him, and then boom. Like I hate to be like bully Ray Dudley, where, where it's like, let me tell you my booking, like and give you like shit booking. But it's like, you want to make a star, like have him go out there and face Cody Rhodes and like beat Cody Rhodes.
Well, yeah,
Or even if you want to make it shocking, you didn't have to do it for the world title. You could just be
no,
like,
what you
they're
do.
having an exhibition match, like, and you have him beat Cody Rhodes, where it's like, oh my god, this like NXT guy, he's the champion, sure, but he just beat like the world champion, and then you go from there.
Yeah, but
But they didn't
that's a
do that.
whole. You've just made a whole program though. So you do it in a non-title match, and maybe Cody doesn't take him seriously, so he pins Cody in that thing, and it's clean. And then you go and do a title match off of it because you just beat him in a non-title match, and then there you go longer. He gives Cody absolute hell, and Cody just barely beats him. Like you've done something there. I mean, you have to do follow up
Yeah,
and stuff, but you just made a whole. You could get weeks out of that.
You don't even
that's
have to
almost like that's
look.
almost like what they did with Sting and Ric Flair back in the
Yeah.
day. Like,
Like you can't
So
do. Oh, go ahead, Chet. Sorry.
you don't even have to have Obafemi win. If you just want to do a DQ finish, Obafemi goes out there. Cody is like, "Oh, okay, we'll do this," and he's not ready. Obafemi pitches him around the ring, beats him from pillar to post, and then on the outside of the ring does something, and the ref just throws the match out. Why? Because Obafemi did something that got himself DQ'd. But what happened in that? He got DQ'd because he was having too much fun beating the hell out of Cody Rhodes. If you don't want to give Oba a win over him at the beginning, and you know what? You suddenly just turned around and in one go, you took this guy that you've already said is worth it because he's got your NXT title, which is only a developmental brand whenever you need to downplay the fact that it lost, and came out there and just, I mean, dog walked your big champion. And now guess what? You have this ready-made threat that's fresh and new.
The problem,
But
the problem too with Braun is, and other companies have done this. Like you kind of had it with like Luger and Sting. Like you had Chono and Muda and Hashimoto. Like having guys come up together and climb the card together is something they don't have, and I think that's what's going to hamper them going forward. Because like, okay, we put Braun up. Well, who does he work with? Because you just got a bunch of old guys that are all like deteriorating in front of you and retiring. So it's like, okay, well, he could face Sami Zayn. It's like, yeah, but that's not. You've buried Sammy to the point that doesn't matter as much. Like where's like this group of like maybe four people that they can have shoot up the card? Like, it's using like Obafemi. Like, what about like Braun and Obafemi and like two other guys that have been going at it since NXT and are climbing the card in the WWE?
yeah, you can't just do it one at a time. There has to be a rising class of people.
And
And
you need a rogues
throwback,
gallery.
throwback, rising class of people. Because Cena and Orton and Edge slash Copeland, just as an example, those are three guys who ascended up the card around the same-ish time. And so what do? They got there and then they bounced those guys off of each other for years. But if you just run one new guy up there, then there's only one little bit of fresh new stuff going on. So,
And it's hard for
like,
like when you're 26, like history does matter as much as like WWE doesn't rely on history. Like it does matter for fans. So it's like that 26-year-old guy like really can't build a history with a 40-year-old if their first interactions are when that guy's 40. Like maybe um when they were younger, like maybe what like a great example would have been like if you would have brought Sami Zayn up and then he was main eventing and then Claudio started messing with him. And then you can go back to their like NXT matches and be like, oh yeah, these guys had this issue back in NXT, and oh, Sammy never beat him. Like, what's he gonna do?
yeah.
There's that you just it just doesn't work well because he doesn't have anyone to bounce off of. Even if you go to like to Ring of Honor, you had Joe Styles, like all those guys have the
Yeah.
history with each other to the point where like um both AEW and like WWE depend on outside knowledge of knowing like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn knew each other beforehand, or like Samoa Joe has history with so and so and all this stuff. Um, so it's important, and I don't know what you do with Braun. I want to
I
say the other thing that kind of would have made it more interesting. I think if they would have left the IC title on Cena, I think that might have made the last match a little more intriguing.
I mean, I know what that was just a gimme so they could say that Cena held every singles title in the company.
Yeah.
Fine. All right, whatever. They could have done more if that program was stretched out and it was Dominic that got the win at the end.
Yeah.
The last time ever tournament just seemed like so slapdash and half-assed.
Like they didn't plan it.
Like they didn't plan and they didn't care. And so here's the other thing.
It was like they got to November and they were like, "Oh shit, we didn't plan like for his last match and it's 6 weeks away. Like, quick, do a tournament."
Yeah. And the other thing that bothers me is that this was an opportunity to, I mean, really make somebody else. Gunther is pretty well made. Okay,
Yeah.
he is established as a world title threat. Even just taking the people that were in the tournament, it could have benefited a lot to have a face versus face match.
Yep, I agree.
With, I'm going to say, Cena and LA Knight just go out there and they say, "Look, I know it's your last go. And I know you're going to leave everything out there, but I'm going to do the same thing, not because I don't like you, not because I don't respect you, but if I'm the man that ended your career, then that means that I'm the man who's worthy of so much more. And so, I like you, I respect you. Let's go out there and tear it up." And you go out there and you have the match, and I know I'm fantasy booking right now. You go out there, you have the match, and let's, in this scenario, let's say LA Knight's the one that pulls it off, and that's another 40-year-old, but that's who was in this little tournament thing, who's the one that pulls it off and gets the win, and then after the match, they're in the ring together, they shake hands, and then Knight leaves and Cena gets his moment. What you could do that with. Also, you could have, or you could have had Breaker be the guy who's like, hey, I put him out to pasture because he couldn't keep up anymore, instead of someone who's already established.
I probably would
But
have done Braun. I think I would have done Braun. If you were going to go have Gunther beat him, I think I would have fed him to Braun.
Yeah, that would have been the.
Because then that's
I
a
think
little.
that would have been the biggest upside.
Well, then but then there's that extra benefit of like Braun can be like, "Hey, Punk, like I just beat this guy and you lost to him in June."
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I think is the problem they're having with Braun Breaker is they're pushing this young guy to be the new thing as a heel, and you want the guy who's rising up, the new young guy, to have people cheer for him.
Well,
But
and then
we're not
he's
getting
going.
that either.
I think he's going against the guy that people kind of want to boo right now too.
Yeah,
Because
so
they're kind of tired of his flanderized version. So let's hit some Hallmark movies here.
oh guys, I worked hard to make sure that I brought you some some quality schlock. Okay, I've got 2 lists. Some of these are real and some of them aren't, and some of them I put actors' names in, and some of them I didn't. So we don't know what's gonna happen here.
Okay.
Let me see. We've got 9.
Okay.
So let's roll the dice here, and we're gonna start with this one. This Christmas from the Hallmark Channel, we have a She was always trying to make the holidays special, working hard with a full-time gig as Santa's helper, an expert at it who always made sure the kids were happy and the pictures were perfect. This elf helper, though, needed to make sure that she got her paycheck and her tax forms from the mall manager, who was jaded because of losing someone important on Christmas. This year on Hallmark, Elf Employed.
I'm gonna say fake because there's not a CEO losing his wife to the farmhand.
Matt, you're just about cracked.
I'm gonna also say fake, but I was thinking because I actually saw. Look, there's so many content creators nowadays, you know, and a lot of it is people just doing like funny, silly little bits on like TikTok or Instagram Live, whatever. But I saw one. Maybe it was on Instagram. I don't know. I don't TikTok or do TikTok, but I saw someone portray. The gimmick was that they were like, I'm the CEO who lost his fiance to because she visited her hometown, small town, with the visit for Christmas, like to meet her parents, whatever, like, and then she fell in love with her high school sweetheart who owns a Christmas tree farm. Like he's like, yeah, like yeah, she left me for him. Like I heard they're having problems. Like his business failed because Christmas only comes one time a year. Kind of doesn't make sense on a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah.
I hear they've had to move back with their parents, and it's not going too well. I made a few $1 million because I closed that deal. The deal that she left me because I took a phone call after 6 p.m. Like I actually took that phone call and closed the deal and made a few million. I do miss her, but I have a new girlfriend now. Like we're getting married. It's like he basically selling for the, and it was actually pretty clever. Yeah, it's like that's the story of every Hallmark movie.
I have a new wife, and I took Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force's advice and imported her from Russia.
It works out better that way. They're not all, By the way, Matt, I saw a similar thing that was the minor character in the Hallmark movie going, "Are you sure you want to do this? I mean, like, all your stuff's still in the city, in the apartment with him, and this is a seasonal business. Do you even know what he does the rest of the... All right, you can do whatever you want to, I get, but what are you going to do? What did you do back there? Are you going to be able to do that here? Or are you going to get a job at the library?" Similar kind of thing, just from the guy on the outside going, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Anyway,
in a more
Elf
serious
Employed.
I'm gonna say also that just doesn't seem in tone with the ones I've encountered over the years. So I think
Elf Employed was fake. Yes, I made that up because I amused myself with the stupid pun. All right. This one's two people tired of constant family pressures, always being asked, harassed, and bothered by their families saying, "Well, when are you going to find someone? When are you going to settle down? When are you going to start a family?" These two people agree to be each other's plus ones for a year when things start to happen around Christmas. This year on Hallmark, Holiday.
I'm gonna go real.
I feel like that's real. I feel like that's a real one
Yeah.
that they've done.
Yeah, Holiday is real. That one.
Okay.
That one's real. Now I'm worried. Am I too easy to sniff out? But
no, that one. I questioned that one heavily.
Oh my God, it's real. 2020. Emma Roberts. Wow, they got she's not A-list, but she's a name. Like Julia Roberts' niece.
I will say, Shad, if you have Lacey Chabert as like starring in any of those, I know it's real because she's in like 50,000 of them.
She's one of the Hallmark Channel's go-tos.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're trying to trick us and you put Lacey Chabert, well, that could go either one of two ways. We either be like, "Oh, it's real," or you could trick us and like fake claim that she's in it.
Oh yeah, that
throw
would
us off. Like
that would throw us off.
Yeah. All right.
Let me add this. Just as an aside, like when she was alive, Like my mom liked all these dumb Hallmark movies, and they used to have a Hallmark channel
Yeah.
where I'm sure they plays all this garbage.
Oh,
I
there's
presume they make movies beyond just the Christmas movies, but they used to have a Hallmark
Yeah.
channel, like a whole channel for this.
they have
But
a subscription you can get for it. There's a subscription channel that has just like all of them on it.
Yeah.
all right, but I noticed this because I have Netflix, and some time ago I was like just scrolling through, look for something on Netflix, and I noticed like it's like, oh, recommended for you, or like, movies that just are now just added. And it was movies that I'm like, that looks like a Hallmark movie. And I I'm like, what is this? I
There's a
clicked on
whole
like the
industry of
it's
fake ones.
no, like I feel Netflix has worked out some sort of deal with Hallmark, because a lot of those stupid movies
Yeah.
that are Hallmark movies are on Netflix now. And I just looked. I'm pretty sure that Holiday is on
No,
Netflix.
Yeah.
but
Oh
Netflix
yes, look, I see it on my phone. It's like, where to watch Netflix. I'm like, oh my god.
Netflix does have ones they've made that like intentionally like rip off the formula. So like
Yeah.
Oh,
there are a lot of like streaming services that have done their own takes on the Hallmark ones.
Hmm.
So because the thing with
yeah.
like the
My
Hallmark ones is like they all kind of look the same because they're all on the set. Like I think like as much as we clown on them, there is like a consistency to them. Like they
You
know the mission.
there's an
you know what
audience
you're
for
gonna get.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you're gonna get.
You're gonna get like
You
a
know what you're gonna get watching
you're
those,
gonna
and it's
get
gonna
like
end
a
up as a feel good thing.
yeah you're gonna get like a 5.5 out of 10 movie, which is like just on like the higher end of average. Every now and then you'll stumble into one that's like actually kind of good,
Hmm.
but
So I'm gonna give you one for free that I just absolutely can't stand, but my wife enjoys the cheesiness of it. This one's real. It is the premise is that Melissa Joan Hart's boyfriend broke up with her. She's supposed to go to her family's cabin for Christmas, so she kidnaps Mario Lopez to be her boyfriend to go with her. It's called Holiday in Handcuffs.
you
Yes.
told us about
And
that before.
You
it
told us about this, and I looked
it's
it up. And I think I even like
so
watched the
weird.
trailer.
It
I
is
want to
so
I
weird.
want to do the
She takes
sequel.
him hostage with a flintlock pistol.
I want a sequel where she does this to Kevin Owens, since like he has notoriously blocked her on social media.
All right. All right. You ready for the next one, guys?
Yeah.
An undercover European royal comes to America seeking to experience an American Christmas, and along the way goes to get a tree from the local tree farm, where he meets the tree farmer's daughter, and Christmas magic happens. On Hallmark, royal treatment.
Okay, I'm gonna say fake because that's a little too close to the formula, and I feel like you intentionally wrote one to sound very Hallmarky.
So
But
you're
it could,
saying it's too meta
I
yeah,
to be a
it's
Hallmark
very,
movie?
yeah, it's
so I like the twist where you're meeting the Christmas farm owner's daughter, not like,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
the hometown boy is like, I own the Christmas tree farm. It's like, I like that it's like, oh, it's a family business. You mean like you
Hmm.
fall in love with the daughter. Like, that's
Yeah.
almost like a gender reversal flip. But I agree with Brad. I think this is a fake one. It's not real.
You got it, guys. You nailed it.
Okay.
They've done the
Remember,
they've done the fake royal thing before though, but like he stuck so close to the tropes. I'm like, this one sounds too Hallmarky to be like to
if
actually
you had
be.
not been like that he's a royal, I would have been like, I would have been a
But
little more
that's
stumped. But
Maybe if
that
he'd
would
been
be
like,
the
royal, I'm like,
premise.
don't know.
maybe if he'd been a duke, I might have fallen for it.
Or
That's
even if you'd been like not a royal, but if you're like, oh, he's not even like a CEO that's like hack. But if you're like, he's like
Radio
like an
DJ.
international, yeah, well, like an international singer, or he's like at least like a mid-level like actor, where it's like he's
But
wealthy,
how
and
how
has
are
some
you
like
going to do that
fame to him.
with any kind of anonymity? How are you going to come to
Oh,
America and experience an American Christmas with any kind of anonymity if you're well known?
maybe he's like a not a royalty, but like a
Manchester
British
United
like
soccer
actor.
player.
Yeah, there you go. Like we don't really know soccer or football, here in America. So it's like, yeah, you could be like a world class like British or European athlete, and we wouldn't know.
Okay.
I, I could
Here's the
tweak
next
your
one.
premise.
Yeah, we're workshopping Hallmark movies here, guys. Here's the next one. A recently single woman spends the season sending Christmas cards to people who made an impact in her life. Right, WRITE, before Christmas.
Oh, is that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Well,
fake.
I feel like I need more. It's like, okay, she's writing people like letters, but like, did she fall in love? Like, what's the?
Oh,
This
I
was
can't give away the ending.
this is like Matt. This was the one that was the last movie to be filmed that day, so they had to be quick.
So you say it's fake. This is vague. It's throwing me off. But
That's
I
true.
almost
That
want
could
to.
make it real.
I
See,
almost
here's the
want to.
thing.
I'm gonna
I
say
mixed this up.
real.
Some of them are I'm trying to be specific with some and vague with others to make the game more interesting.
It's vague, so I don't like that. I feel like that's why I say I feel like I need more. I feel like if it's like she's writing and then like she makes some sort of like pen pal love connection with one of these people that she's writing,
Or she
but
reconnects with like an old
yeah,
flame.
I almost feel like it's I'm gonna say true just because I think that this could be like a premise.
Actually, joke's on you. This is Monster, and she actually wrote Ed Gein, and he showed up and killed her and made a suit out of her.
Okay.
Eileen Warnos writes to Ed Gein.
Ed Gein needs a Christmas vest.
So the answer on this one is Matt is correct. This was a real
It's
one.
real. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking down at one of them that was fake, and then I realized this is no. We gotta take that one out because frankly, it would fall into what Brad said with the too
Tropey.
yeah, it would be too easy to sniff out. So okay, here we go. A medieval knight is sent to modern times looking on a quest. A medieval knight is sent to modern times on an unknown quest, told only he will know what he is looking for when he finds it, and then finds himself falling for a high school science teacher in Night Before Christmas.
This seems too creative for a Hallmark movie, but like that also makes me want to say it's real too because
The name broke me like that.
yeah.
So hack. I'm gonna say fake.
Yeah, I'm gonna say fake too.
It seems bad.
That's a little too science fiction-y for what they go for.
It's real.
Oh
Wow.
God. Starring who? Let me look.
I don't know. I just saw the description and I'm like, oh, I gotta write this one down.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, yes. I mean, also where to watch Netflix. Again, I told you. Netflix has like all these. Josh Whitehouse is Sir Cole. Oh my God, Vanessa Hudgens. Like, man, that High School Musical movie money has pretty much just been running out. If she's doing these Hallmark movies,
yeah.
but
I mean, you gotta fix.
It's easy work.
Yeah, you got. I mean, you figure you show up on the set and do a couple days work, and they probably pay you pretty well. Like I think that because there's a lot of people that do a lot of these. I'm pretty sure you could earn a living just doing these.
Yeah.
Also starring Rob Lowe.
Who?
Rob Lowe.
Oh my God.
71% on Rotten Tomatoes.
By the way, this is such a weird thing. There was a short run TV series. I can't remember if it was on CBS or ABC or whatever, a short run medieval musical called Gallivant, which features a cameo as Sir John Hamm of John Stamos.
That's funny.
And it is so, because he just cracks your mama jokes the entire time. The show is just, it's a joy to watch.
I
All right.
remember this.
What?
Uh, Joshua Sass was Gallivant.
Oh,
I never
dude,
watched it.
that show cracks me up. I enjoy the hell out of that show. Timothy Ombudsman as King Richard is hysterical. He's so clueless through most of it. It's great.
What was he on? Would I know
Um,
him from anything?
Ombudsman, he was in Supernatural,
I
and
never watched that.
hang on. I can tell you. Give me just a second.
My wife and I just
I've seen exactly like 1.5 episodes of Supernatural, and it was
so
okay.
that's a show. That's a show that I've always kind of like. Oh, maybe I should watch it.
Okay.
It has like 15 seasons, and I'm like, I don't have time in my life.
They ran it way past its expiration date.
I don't have time in my life to watch like 300 episodes.
I think it
of,
just
like,
turns
that
into
show.
like, I think it's just Lady Gooner bait after a couple seasons anyway.
Yeah,
That
it is.
I randomly was talking about that with my wife the other day because two things, weird anecdotes. Well, one is like, well, it's not an anecdote. One is just like, I guess one of the other, not the Padalecki guy, but the other guy was on The Boys, and they're doing like a spin-off where he plays the character Soldier Boy, and I guess he's going to be in the spin-off. But they just announced that Padalecki is actually just got hired to that series, so you're having like a supernatural actor reunion in this new Boys spin-off show. But the other thing is like the Padalecki guy, who's probably like in his 40s now, but like he actually, I think he has a twin brother. They both grew up in San Antonio, where my wife is from, so she actually kind of like knew of them. I don't think she knew them, but they were like known. And like before they were famous, like they were like, it wasn't even like, oh yes, the famous actors. Like it's like, no, they were like, it's almost like, oh yeah, like the Johnson twins. Like they go to like that school down the street. It's like they kind of were known. So my wife is like, oh yeah, like they were kind of known. But
Timothy Ombudsman was in Judging Amy. He was Eli in Xena Warrior Princess. He was Carlton Lassiter in Psych. King Richard in Gallivant, and Kane in Supernatural.
Lassie, if you haven't watched it, Psych's actually a funny show. Because my favorite scene from that is they were playing like in a softball tournament, and someone was coming in with a gun, and they tell him, because he's like a cop, and he just double pulls out like 2 guns on the guy. If you don't know the concept of the show, the main character is faking being a psychic, and he has his partner, and then like Lassiter is like the main police officer he works with. It's really good for about, I don't know, 3 to 5 seasons, and it gets real bad. And I haven't seen the movie.
Okay. You ready for the next one, guys?
Yeah. I should rewatch some of those seasons. That was a fun watch.
Lacey Chabert tries to cook the best Christmas dinner ever, and wackiness ensues in Seasonings Greetings, plus the sequel, Last But Not Feast.
I'll say real on that one. Like you might be trying to trick me with her being in it, but that does sound like, because it involves cooking and Christmas, that seems like something they would do. It's a struggle though.
I want to say it's real. I don't think it's real. I think like you're trying to trick us with the whole like
that's gonna be
Lacey Chabert thing. But that actually is not why I think it might not be real. I think that you threw it in when you threw in that it's like, oh, the sequel. What was the sequel called?
Last But Not Feast.
Last But Not Feast. Like that was like, to me, like that was two over the top.
Too,
like
yeah,
I feel like
over the top.
now you're like, you're rubbing it in our
You-
faces. So I'm
I
gonna say
think-
not real.
I think I'm gonna switch teams and join Matt because he's right on the last.
Matt is correct. Matt is
Okay,
correct.
yeah.
Yes.
I honestly, if you just stopped there, I'd been like,
Yeah.
oh man, they would have gotten. It would have been a coin flip.
Because
I feel like
that does seem like one
the
they'd make a
punny
sequel. Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Well, the first one was Seasonings Greetings.
I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
And then
like
I
they would
thought
do
of that
something
one.
like that.
I thought of
Look,
that one, and it made me
Night before
chuckle.
Christmas, like they
Yeah.
they do is they. I feel like besides like creating, look. I have a lot of things to say about the AI boom and how it's a lot of garbage and crap and everything like that. But I feel like they took like an early version of the AI thing and they must have just gone to it and been like, feed me all the punny names for that's a play on words for Christmas. And they just like they just had like a list of like 100 different names, and Hallmark has just been like, we have to make movies on all of these punny names. It just they just been cranking out movies. So I can absolutely see it.
Look,
Night before Christmas, Seasonings Greetings.
Elf Employed and Seasonings Greetings show up, I'm wanting some royalties. All right. Next one. Danica McKellar goes looking for a special gift and meets a self-taught potter in his own shop when magic happens in Elf Taught.
I'm gonna say. Ooh. I'm gonna say real because one of these has to be like a real one.
So I don't like the name of Elf Tot, which is obviously a play on self-taught. I don't like that. I feel like that's too hacky and that's too like on the nose. But I'm gonna say real too because I feel like this is exactly the type of movie that Danica McKellar. What's her name?
Danica McKellar.
Okay, McKellar. Like I feel like it's exactly the type of movie and she's like the exact level of star like you should.
Yeah.
Like having this, like she was a name in Wonder Years, but that was kind of like like 30 plus.
She's been making Hallmark movies for years now.
Yeah, I do have to say.
I feel like this is real.
I do have to say I did like the porno version of this Elf Thought.
So, by the way, my roommate in college referred to Danica McKellar. He would say Danica McKellar, aka Fine Ass Winnie Cooper. So that stuck in my head for 20 years. No, this one was fake. And that is the only one. No, that's not true. There's only been 2 that both of you have missed on so far. So that's Elf Tot caught you.
I was like, this is kind of on the nose, but he also did on the nose once, so he might not go so on the nose again.
All right. Last one I've got for you. Hope you're ready for this. Lindsay Lohan plays a spoiled heiress that has a skiing accident, gets amnesia, and falls in with a widower's struggling bed and breakfast.
Lindsay Lohan been in one of these?
I don't know. Has she?
I'm gonna say no. And my reasoning is actually that Lindsay Lohan is too good for one of these. Because she did like another Freaky Friday movie with Jamie Lee Curtis recently. Mm-hmm. And she's like kind of back on the upswing. Like this is
but they've been making these for like 10 years. This could have been like right after
Freakier Friday, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm still gonna say fake.
I'm thinking because like the year would really depend, because if this was like she's just getting clean, this would be like a really great way for her to make some money and show she's easy to work with and she's clean. Like this could be like Sid working in ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Good point. Good.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Bringing it back.
Yes.
Lindsay Lohan, after she got married and they had a kid, like it seemed like her whole perspective shifted or something. It's
So as a sidebar,
Mhm.
like my wife like showed me this picture and of like a girl, and I'm like, wow, yeah, she like looks attractive. And she's like, that's Lindsay Lohan. I'm like, what? Like Lindsay Lohan looks fantastic now, and
She's actually
I'm like,
turned the clock
she,
back. Uh,
and I'm like, she looks great. Like, what happened? And she's like, she did amazing plastic surgery. So I'm sure it's like, things were done to make her look, but she looks good. Like she looks healthy. Looks like
I'm
I,
surprised.
I think
looks like
she
she
had a
used
kid,
to.
right?
Yeah.
She's like, well, she had a kid, right? So it's like, if you have a kid for the sake of everything, like, I hope to God you're like not doing drugs and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
she looks fantastic, and it's like, yeah. My wife is like, oh, it's all plastic surgery, whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. But I think she's like trying to make. It's like I need to get like 20 years later. It's like I need to get my career on the upswing. So I'm gonna say fake, but I agree with Brad. It's like, is this like a 10-year-old Hallmark movie? Because maybe like this could exactly been what she was doing, but I don't know.
I'm gonna say fake, but I'm sus that it might be real.
This one's real.
Ah!
I thought it might be. What year was it made? Did you
Don't know.
let me look? What's it
I didn't
called?
write down any of the years. It is called Falling for Christmas.
Falling for Christmas. Let's see. Because, like I said, that makes sense if she was trying to rehab. You do some low budget stuff, get some money. Like, I bet. Oh, this is 2022, so that would. That would.
Well, that I feel like that still could apply with what you're saying. Like, oh, let me make a film to like show that I'm, reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Again, I'm looking at the Wikipedia. Falling for Christmas only on Netflix. Why
Hey,
has Netflix become the new Hallmark channel?
no, this
Well,
is.
they've got a bigger budget for it.
I think this is actually a Netflix movie because I don't see Hallmark mentioned here.
Let me see.
This is bullshit.
This is a Netflix
The
movie.
film. Listen. The film was released on November 10th, 2022, by Netflix after a screening of it for fans. Several publications, including Rotten Tomatoes, named "Falling for Christmas" one of the best Christmas films of all time. Bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
look, Elf, like Nightmare Before Christmas,
Rudolph.
Rudolph,
Christmas Story.
Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story.
I mean, Christmas.
Okay, sidebar.
Christmas
Did we talk about
Vacation. Christmas Vacation is the best Christmas movie of all time, and it's blasphemy to suggest otherwise.
Did we talk about on the show? I know we talked about it offline, but my wife and I actually watched it, I think last year. Excuse me, they did a sequel to A Christmas Story.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
done
yeah.
two. They've done two.
and
One of them was just a mess that had Daniel Stern in it.
That was like 80s, I think. But this is one they did like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And have we talked about that on the show? Like my wife and I watched that either last year or the year before. And it was enjoyable. It's not like I'm gonna watch it every year, but it's with is it Ralph Billingsley? Like it's with the kid, the original kid, who has gone on to have like an actual good career in Hollywood, but mostly like behind the scenes. I think he's done like writing and producing and stuff like that.
Yeah, because
But he came back.
The young Anakin still has a career in Hollywood, and he's mostly like backstage stuff.
Yeah.
But Peter Billingsley is his name, by the way.
Peter Billingsley. Yeah, he did it. He basically played himself. The kid, Ralphie, grown up, and it's about his kids. But the premise is like the dad like died, and like it's him about coming back to his like hometown to be with his mom for Christmas, like after the dad died, and like with his kids, his wife and kids. And there's a lot of like, comical moments and everything like that. But it wound up being like an incredibly like emotional film at the end, and my wife and I were like, "Oh my God!" Like, it's like you think it's like a dumb movie because Christmas Story was like a kind of a dumb movie. Like it's endearing, so that's why it's become like this classic over the last like 30-40 years. But this was like funny and not, again, not a great movie, but surprisingly like emotional and poignant. So it's like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
it was completely unexpected.
that's why I
So
haven't watched it. Is because I'm like, I don't think I'm emotionally equipped to
Well,
watch that
the
yet.
dad's kind of a
if you have if
the
if you
dad's
have
kind of a
lost a
complicated.
father,
Yeah,
and I have lost a father,
yeah.
it probably
And the dad,
really cuts you to the
the
quick, but
the
it's
dad's not like the dad's a complicated character because I think like people tend to think he's a bad dad, but when you really like break into the movie, he's not like a great dad, but he's also not like a terrible dad. He's just like
Yeah.
he's like a uh he's like a no, he's not quite a boomer though. He's like is he a boomer?
well, because this, I mean,
Well, no, no, he's not a boomer because that it doesn't take place in the 80s, so I'm thinking wrong. So he's like he would be like probably born in the
Probably
20s, I bet.
Silent Generation, maybe.
Yeah. So he's kind of this
maybe.
guy that's like
Or
working for his family and he's just kind of checked out because of, society and stuff at the time.
he's doing the
That
best he can, but he's
Yeah.
got a lot of miles on him.
that was with the sequel. That was kind of like what my wife initially and I were like, because Peter Billingsley, his character is like he's like really broken up about the dad dying, and it's because
Mhm.
it's like, oh, the patriarch is dead, and like everyone in the community of their small town, it's like, oh my god, like like he was like this pillar of the community. And my wife and I, having seen the first movie, were like, I don't remember the dad being like, everyone loved the dad, like, oh, the dad's like this huge like lion of the family. But I think you're right. It's like
He's
he's actually like just a good dad providing for his family. He's just kind of checked out, not like mean, not abusive or anything like that, but just kind of like checked out.
he's probably
But
not
they're
he's probably so
good.
the original movie takes place in 1940, so he would not be Silent Generation. He would probably be pre-Silent
Greatest
Generation.
Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who
Because
served in World War II.
because if
yeah.
they had because what how old's Ralphie in that first one, like 10 or 11?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
So if they
Yeah.
had him at 18, he would have been 29 or 30. So he would have been born probably well, he might have been older. So he would probably been born like 1905 to like 1912, I bet. And Silent Generation starts in 1928.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it might be that pocket generation in between the two.
Yeah. But there's one part of the sequel that does kind of like put the dad in a different light, because in this, like, there's the brother, but Peter Billingsley, like, he has like a couple kids, and again, the dad died. He died like recently, not like years ago, like last like few months to weeks. So they go to the mom's for Christmas, so she's not alone. But there's a scene where this is part of like the emotional like impact on it, and my wife and I were just like, the dad was that this special, but it's established that when it's Christmas, because there's like some mishaps where some of the gifts get like stolen, or they lose the gifts, like, so it's like, oh my god, like we don't have gifts for our family, for our kids, for Christmas.
Yeah.
But what they learn is that the dad, who would be like the granddad of the kids, that the dad, because he loved his family so much, that he planned, before he died, he planned Christmas so far in advance that basically it's like months ahead of time, before he died unexpectedly, he had already bought everyone's Christmas gifts, and they were just like stored there in the house. So like come Christmas time, like all the kids got like everything that they wanted because the granddad had already bought them. And then he died, or like he died like unexpectedly, so it's tragic. But that's how much he cared about his family, that it's like already have Christmas sorted out, like
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
he got him the BB gun too.
11, 12, literally 12 months in advance.
Yeah.
Like probably the day after Christmas, he's like, I'm getting all those gifts for next year.
And he listened and he got
It
him the BB gun as a kid. And let's
yeah.
let's admit here, who as an adult man in their 40s has not had a freak out like that over a furnace in their life if you've owned a home?
Oh
Because
my god.
Because my old
With
one
my
at the
kids
old
now,
house.
I'm like, why are you turning the thermostat?
Yeah,
Don't touch the thermostat.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, the that movie came out in 2022, November
Okay.
2022. I
Didn't they
lost
do?
my dad that July,
Oh,
so there
yeah.
was no way in hell I was watching that movie, and I still haven't.
Isn't there a
Yeah, we get some
weird?
Uh,
time.
Isn't there? Wasn't there a weird stage like production they did? Like,
oh, the live musical.
yeah.
Oh man, not great. Um, they had Matthew Broderick as the narrator, and man, his line reads are there. Um,
A thing that
they had Maya
exists.
Rudolph as mom, and Maya Rudolph was trying really hard, but where they were doing it live, she just had this thing where there's a note she hits, she's doing a song, and she just, it's like her voice hits this speed bump or something, and she loses the pitch, and she's trying to get it back through like the second half of the song. It's just not working. And man, there are some directorial choices in that are just not great.
I
So
we've never heard about it again, so yeah,
just
it
just
probably didn't do
just
well.
don't. You're fine. And don't watch the Christmas Story 2 with Daniel Stern, because it is awful. It is horrendously bad.
I did.
As in, like, hey, you like the first movie, so we're going to reference all this stuff from the first movie and the second movie, but we're going to do it poorly.
I hate when they do that. I am
It's
excited. I finally did. Someone finally uploaded to YouTube a complete copy of the Claymation Christmas special, which had not been out there in complete form and easy to find. It's on Prime now too. Um, so
We
that
have a
makes me happy.
DVD of it. We my wife found a hard copy of it, and it's in her stack.
I'm surprised you found a DVD. I could only find it on VHS for a long time.
Dude, when it comes to Christmas stuff, my wife just has a nose for it. I don't know what else to say, but um
It's
in
a,
any event, the yeah, that was my listing of attempts at throwing you guys off. For the most part, you had me dead to rights.
well,
Hmm.
except that you cheated with the Netflix movie that was not a
Now
Hallmark
wait a
movie.
minute. Okay, Hallmark movie, though, is a term that kind of encompasses the style. It's not just the stuff that's on Hallmark. It's kind of, it is a style of movie that has that label attached to it.
They did. I guess they did get Brooke Shields and Carrie Yules for one of those, so I guess they could have splurged for.
Hmm.
Yeah, Castle for Christmas or something like that.
Yeah,
I
I wonder if that was. I want to look now. I want to see if that was like the first Lohan movie in a while, and if that was like her kind of trying to
uh
rehab her image.
actually, it was part of her film resurgence.
So we were right. It was kind of her
Let's see.
Sid ECW
Well,
run.
and here's the funny thing is I looked it up on Wikipedia, and apparently you're more right than you might think, because she came in, she had all of her stuff down cold. She had like ideas and recommendations and helped to do like the wardrobe stuff and things like that. It wasn't just, oh, this is for me to get back on there. It's like she apparently took it very seriously.
Oh yeah, so she'd done stuff. Okay, so she had done nothing from 2015 to 2018. Then she did a show. Then she did some awful movie. Then she did a guest spot. And then a short thing with Planet Fitness. And then she did 8 episodes of a TV show, this. And then she started doing more. Like, her work has started going up again, starting with that. Her roles kind of dried up in 2014.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
So, well, good for her. I'm glad that,
It's nice when people get their stuff cleaned up.
yeah, good to see somebody bounce back. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, okay,
And
so
not have tragedy strike with it, because I don't know, I've read a bit of the details of the Rob Reiner thing, and that seems like
My God.
a terrible mix of addiction and mental health problems. And
yeah,
That so I've been kind of following that too. It seems like I think timeline wise, probably like Saturday, Conan O'Brien had like a holiday party that at least some Hollywood actors and everyone were at. Like Bill Hader was there, Rob Reiner was there. He went and he brought like the son, and I guess like there was a altercation or an argument there. Like the son, who apparently has had like 20 years of like drug addiction,
well,
and seems
it seems like just from some of the stuff I had read, it sounds like he has mental health problems that were kind of really intermixed with the drug addiction, and they were trying really hard on the drug addiction, and it seems like he might have needed some more mental health. But I mean, that's really hard, like especially when you're in the trenches like that. Like, it's tough.
yeah.
You try the best you can, and it just seems like
yeah,
It whether he had mental health or it's drugs or both. I guess it seems like he was, by all accounts, what he may have been using again. But he got
yeah.
into some sort of argument. I think it's Saturday night at party at Conan O'Brien's, and then uh, the next day, uh, it's you get the story where like police were called to Rob Reiner's house, and it must there are people who must be like following just like the police blotters and everything like that, because it was like homicide detectives. And from what we know now, it seems like the daughter is the one who like came in and found the bodies, and she was the one who called the cops. And because obviously when cops are, if you're calling and being like, my parents are dead,
Yeah.
they're going to start asking questions, and one of them could be like, well, who would do this? Like, why would someone do this? And if it's not just like, I have no idea, it's they're famous, they're rich and famous, like random robbery. She basically was like, you should look for this person, meaning her brother. He's dangerous. So flat out,
Yeah.
she was like, he's the person who would have done this. But if you actually like hear some of the details, it's like it's pretty horrific. Like he did he killed whoever, which it seems like it's his brother, but he killed him bad. It's a very violent way
So
they ended.
is the thought that then they went home and he just lost his shit and killed him? Is that kind of what they think
I
happened with
guess it
that?
could have been like there's no. I've not seen any details about when the cause of death is, so I don't know if it's like after the party, like he killed them, or it's like he did this in the next like he was still pissed off or whatever. And it seems that everything happened within that time frame though.
Yeah.
Saturday, I guess Saturday night to Sunday.
Well, I mean, I would say if the daughter immediately knew, I would say he has a history of outbursts and stuff. So like,
The fact that she's like he's dangerous, that it's like
yeah,
that
yeah,
he
because
may have a history of mental health or drug addiction
well,
or both,
and
but it seems like there had to been violence
if
associated
you
with this.
if you watch if you watch like a lot of true crime stuff, like I've seen this on other shows where like they have problems, they're violent, and then like their parents or like a parent just can't like, oh, it's my kid, I've got to help him, and then the other kid's like, no, you got it, like they're gonna hurt you, and then
yeah.
that happens. So it's that,
or you got to quit bailing him out, or
yeah,
something like that.
you got to
It's
cut him off, like, yeah, and I imagine I imagine it's hard to, when you're that successful and you can like throw money at it, like, get him in rehab, like get him help and stuff. I think, like, you know that makes it harder in a way too.
Yeah. The biggest difficulty that comes with addiction issues is that they are there's commonality obviously, but then there's also a different personal aspect, and some of that comes with family dynamics, some of that comes with genetics, some of that comes with environment. In a lot of cases, it's all three, and there's no good one size fits all response to it.
Well, it can be mental
Um,
health too, because like
yeah,
that's what when people just this isn't political. It's just the reality. When people start like when people come up with their very naive ways to like fix the homeless problem, it's like no, you don't understand like how homeless people work. Like you can't just give them a place to live because their problems are very deep into mental health and addiction, and a lot of them are addicts because they're self-medicating for severe like schizophrenia, like severe mental health problems, and like it's really hard to just know where one begins and the other
It,
ends, and it's
there,
like
yeah, yeah.
and
There are people who think like, oh, like homeless. There are some people out there who do think that for people who are homeless, it's like that the overwhelming majority of them, it's just like, oh, it's just socioeconomic factors, and it's like, no, actually, most people are at that level of homeless because they are either very deep into drug addiction or have very severe mental health issues
or
or
they want to live that way
both.
because I worked in a major metropolitan downtown, so I was on like I wouldn't say friendly term, like I would talk to a couple here and there, and so they were more functional ones, but like a couple of those guys were just like, yeah, I just like living this way, but others were
there are
like
now
but others were like, yeah, I just can't do well in places because I hear voices. Like I knew a guy like that.
there are some people who having a place to live, yes, would make all the difference. And then there are others that, like you said, they have mental health issues or addiction issues or something like that, or they formed an addiction issue to try and cope with a mental health issue or something of that
Yeah.
nature. And there's more going on to it. And like where I live, there's a winter overnight shelter program, and um, the whole idea is that they have volunteers around for those, so that you're not just like, oh, you can sleep somewhere warm for the night, and it's not the Salvation Army. There is a Salvation Army, but there's not just that.
The guys I've known that have been enough to talk with about stuff don't like the shelters because they say like, no, it's fucking scary in there. I'd rather just get a tent and sleep in the woods
And
somewhere.
okay, so a former coworker of mine, he had a job where his job, he was an Air Force veteran. His job was he would go and find armed forces veterans who were homeless and offer to help them with stuff. And he was telling me a story about one of them. This guy was living in a tent. He's like, we could help you get a place. And the guy goes, why? He goes, so you have a place to live? He goes, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't want anything else. This is where I want to be. People leave me alone. And he was like, all right, can't argue with that. There are some people that choose that. There are some folks that fall into it because of economic factors, and there are some folks that fall into it for mental health and addiction factors. There's not a big rubber stamp answer.
Yeah.
Just like there's not a big rubber stamp answer to addiction.
But it's something I have kind of like I don't know, say an interest because I've been exposed to a lot 'cause where I used to work, location wise where I used to work, and so I've met a lot. I've see the same guy on the street all the time, and when people just are like, oh, just get them homes, like doesn't work like that. Like you don't want to hear what you would actually have to do to like fix the issue.
There are some that you can. There are some people that you can, and and what happens with them is, okay, you can, and then they have a place to live so that they're able to have, an address and a stable point of contact for getting work and things like that. yes, that's a godsend for them, and they're able to put their life together. That's great. But if they're not, then you end up with destroyed housing, or
Crime.
like the program that I was talking about. One of the things was there's no drug use if you're using this, and there
Yeah.
have been nights, cold nights, when they've had to turn people out. So like that, those are the rules. You knew what it was coming in, and if you don't enforce the rules, then don't bother having them. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
really, really
And the
tough.
what
And frankly, social services don't have enough resources to be able to address these very
well,
well.
even if you did though, um like what do you do, like let's take a guy, we'll just take a random guy. Let's say he's addicted to, we'll say, heroin because he hears voices. So you've got, and the voices tell him bad things. So he medicates because he's doing this because it makes the voices like quiet or whatever. So now you have a guy that's addicted to heroin, but he's also severely mentally ill. So you've got to 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 help this guy, you've got to address both issues, and both of those issues feed each other. And now, like, so let's say you get him off the heroin. So now you've got a guy that hears voices and is detoxing. Like, that's,
Yeah, that would probably if I was going to postulate, if I was going to speculate on it, probably the best method would be a MAT, medically assisted treatment, so that they are not using, heroin or fentanyl. There's something that's going to fill in that gap so that they can work their way off of it, and you start
Meth-
treating the mental illness.
but then,
Methadone.
Suboxone or something like
but then,
Suboxone or
Yeah,
methadone. Yeah,
Suboxone, methadone, something
but
like
then
that.
on top of that,
I've actually I've seen that with like my work. Like I
yeah,
have seen medical records where that's not that uncommon. Like you have people who have schizophrenia. That's usually because schizophrenia is one that actually it's common that you have this what essentially is psychotic symptoms.
hmm
it's,
And by that I mean like you have delusions, you have paranoid thinking,
it's
or
worse
you
than
have
that. Like
some sort of hallucinations.
like, it even makes, because I have a relative that has it. So I've seen some stuff, but it even like makes food taste weird. So that's why you think people are poisoning you. Like, it does all sorts of weird.
That
It's
that
an
yeah that
insidious. So that,
yeah.
but so then, okay, so let's say you get them detox, you get them on like whatever pills they need. So that now, once they're out of rehab, you have to, one, hope they stay on their pills, which with mentally ill people is a real crapshoot. Like, you don't know what they're gonna do because people go, "Well, I feel better. I don't need the pills anymore," and think like,
Yeah.
and so then, but at the same time, you need them to not do drugs. So it's just like, it's tough. Like, there's a lot of work, and like sending people to rehab is not like, I think the average is 7 times someone has to go before it takes.
7 attempts before a rehabilitation, on average, does is successful.
Yeah, and
That's
honestly,
insane.
like, I hate to say this because it sounds inhumane, but like when I was down there, like, they're the dudes that are, cool. You can talk to you, say good morning to them, but then there were the ones that like just need to be locked up.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunately like there's not to make it political, but there is like a kind of there's one political side, and there may be extremes, like because the political side would be like lock them all up or kill them or whatever. But there's another political side that is just like we just need more social workers that'll fix the problem. And it's like no, like there are some people who are really just that far gone that like they a social worker isn't going to do anything. Like they need really significant help, and they will not do it on their own.
You if you
So then
see,
So
you have to basically force them, and so you have to get some sort of government actor to actually do that.
yeah, if
So you're
you
using
so
force on people, but if you leave them to their own devices, they're actually a danger to the public because they
yeah,
are potentially violently off.
there are
So
not as many of those in my experience. There's not
Y-
a in
Yes,
my
yes,
experience they do exist. There's
yes.
not a lot of them. And to be honest with you, social services could use a lot more funding because if you really want to treat this, who's actually doing it? Like who's
Well,
seriously doing the work for
in
it?
my general,
I agree because social services in general, like not even those type of people, but just in general, like what if you're someone who, not even like you're homeless, whatever, but you just need services because you're poor
Yeah.
and
and you need assistance, and it's like, well, you have an underfunded, understaffed group of people, like maybe you need assistance, and it's like you don't have that.
Yeah.
So like who are you going to rely on? And in some areas you can rely on people like a local church, but other places like no. So what are you going to do?
I
in
can tell you because I work for a community action. Community actions are in every country, every county in the United States except Louisiana, where they're in every parish because Louisiana's weird. And I can tell you that the point behind a lot of community actions is a hand up, not a handout. We're trying to help you
Mm,
get up and get into your life. But there's limits. There's the one that I work for. We got a 4 county area. Only one of those counties can we offer any kind of housing assistance in. Can't do it in the others. Um, unless you're a veteran, in which case that's a different case. Yeah, it's a different program. But there's only so many programs that are floating around there, and then a whole bunch of them were on the chopping block thanks to Elon and such. And okay, community actions were established in the 60s for the LIHEAP program, Low Income Heating Energy Assistance Program, to help make sure people didn't freeze to death in their homes. They all distribute those funds. Elon tried to axe that whole program.
the other problem with
Like,
churches is if you're doing it as a church, you have very limited resources and it gets
mhm.
strained real quick because you get scammed a lot.
There are people who, yeah, like my church, what they did is like whenever they would do meals, they used to make a to-go box for people. They quit doing that because people would like get all these to-go boxes and there wouldn't be enough food for everybody who was physically there. So they'd quit doing them. Like, well, yeah, but my girlfriend or my kids couldn't come down here with me. It's like we can't do that because people were taking advantage of it. And it's like
Yeah.
that happened with Back to School Bash one time. Is that someone's like, and I'm like, why in the what good does it do you to scam for like 5 extra notebooks?
But
What
that
but they do but it they tried to do it anyway.
Yep, and so if you're a church, let's say you have $1,000, like say a month to help,
Yeah.
like they're gonna eat up about 200 of that, like just on people scamming you, so that now you have
And
800
it
that's
depends.
in
It depends
my
because if you
general
got
like
people who if
in
you got people there who know the folks that come in, they get pretty good at sniffing that out, but it definitely can be the case.
it you run into problems. What I've seen is where you know they're scamming you, but you can't prove it, and so you kind of have to punish everyone for the bad actors. I would also say in my general experience with like the dangerous homeless is like when your regulars start disappearing all at once and they're replaced, those ones are usually the ones to be careful of.
Because they've run everybody else
If
out.
they've run the if they've run the guy like the more functional homeless, like they left for a reason and you should be careful.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's one of those issues where people don't want to hear what the solutions are and how difficult that is and how some of them do honestly just want to live that way because it's just
It's because there's not an easy answer.
yeah, they want easy answers
There's
to
not.
everything.
Yeah. There's just not an easy answer. If you want uh in my experience, if you want an easy answer, you need better funded social services so that they can have more people, the caseloads don't stack up and stuff gets behind. And you need better mental health treatment because we don't have a widespread national mental health standard now. We've got some places that have mental health facilities, but those are scattered. They're not common.
Well, I think also people I think people have to accept with all that, which I think everything you said is true, is that there are going to be lost causes in there, and that you can't save everyone, and that you might have to make uncomfortable choices of, hey, we think we can get to this guy, so maybe that guy over there that's walking around like he's a zombie in a Walking Dead movie, maybe we should just lock him up or just not devote as many resources over there. Like I think there's uncomfortable answers there too. Like I said, like hey, this guy's really dangerous. Maybe. Um,
There are there some people have bitched and moaned about, well, for me to get this, why do I have to bring all the stuff in? It's like you have to bring that in because that's the requirement for the program. Why is that the requirement for the program? Frankly, so that it's getting to people who need it and folks aren't, there
well,
aren't people who are scamming for it and then depleting the funds. And why just could I had an argument. This is like the only time in the last 10 years I've actually done a stupid social media argument with somebody I don't know. And it's like, lie heap exists. Well, that should be for everybody, but it's not. It's not meant for that. It's meant that people who don't have any money so they don't freeze to death. It should be for everybody. Why should it be for everybody? Because I think it should be. No, you want it because you don't want to pay your heating bill.
yeah.
Well, why should I? Because you can. These people would die if they don't. It should be for everybody. You are a selfish, awful person. And then I get reported for it. And it's like,
Well,
well,
you end up just helping people that don't need help when you do that. But I also think when people get huffy about that, it's like, well, no, the barrier, if you're willing to jump through the minimal hoops that's the barrier of entry of getting like into the program, probably means you've already got like a leg up on someone too lazy to do that because you've already put some investment into it.
yeah.
Like if you're willing to like get your birth certificate and your social security card, fill out the sheet, maybe do a couple other things, like, well, okay, you've already put some effort in, so like that probably already ups your chances of success at least a couple of percentage
Or
points.
if you don't
Yeah.
have it, but you're willing to do what it takes to get it, then yes, that's a different thing.
Yeah. That at least you care. Like you might fail, but it tells me that you care.
Yeah.
And because that's the other thing I think people need to understand, and I think is kind of like with the stigma of like addiction and mental illness, is like you can care and still fail with that stuff.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Or it's not even that you might be successful, but it's a band-aid on a problem. It's not going to fix everything. Everything you've got to offer is not enough to fix everything. It's enough to be a band-aid on a gaping wound.
Yeah.
So, and that's soul crushing. My dear darling wife is looking to go into a different line of work after 25 years of that because it grinds your soul away. She has told me stories that, with all the personal information removed, number one, because that's ethical, but then number two, because um, that filled me with so much disgust and anger that I needed to not know who that person was. And I'm not going to say it on air because, frankly, y'all don't need that mental scarring. But yeah, it is really hard. And if it's something that's going to be fixed, there frankly needs to be a unified systemic approach that has been successful. Like someone who's done it properly, take that general program and adapt it to your circumstances, or that is, you find what you can generalize out of it and spread it around. But it's not always going to work. And
No.
there's some people who are going to try and make you feel like shit because they don't want to do everything, but they want whatever it is you got. And when you won't give it to them, you're a bad, selfish person, or whatever.
Yeah, that's tough. You run into that
Yeah,
at the church thing too. You get a lot of
yeah,
manipulating and all that stuff.
yeah,
The worst is when I don't mean to go into this tangent. The worst is like when they use their kids against you in the church setting, because I've seen that before and it's
yeah,
brutal.
yeah,
Sorry, I've had some scarring experiences with like church charity stuff.
yeah.
But okay, so that is it for us for this year, I think.
Yeah,
We'll
that's a hell of a
Yeah,
thing to
pretty
go
much.
out on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's the
Go
time.
go watch the night before Christmas.
It's the kind of the time of year where I think that comes up a lot, though, because I think people are a little more charitable and stuff. Um,
Listen, let me say one other thing before we go. I don't know who's going to hear this. This is something I do pretty regularly elsewhere. Um, this is also a time of year where it's hard on folks. Most of the incidents of suicide attempts actually happen in January after the holiday is over, but it does happen, and there are self-harm incidents, or there's depression, or that's look. The world's only darker when you put out your own candle. And if there's anything that I can say to somebody to help them not do that, I will. So if you're in a bad place and you're in the US or Canada, you can call or text 988. That's the National Mental Health Crisis Line. They have staff on 24/7. Get some help, because you're worth it whether you feel like it or not. And don't let that crushing despair beat you. If you need to do it out of spite, tell yourself I ain't no damn quitter and get some help so you can beat it. Or if you just need to know that there is a way out, then if you break your leg, you go to the doctor and get it set. If we break our brain, people are like, well, you just need to get over it or push through it, or just be happy. It's like, shut up. It doesn't work that way. You're worth it. Get the help you need. It is okay to do that. Don't you can't push through it, fight it, outthink it, whatever. Get the help you need.
okay, so that is it for this year. We'll probably come back in January with the award shows. Spoiler: CMLL is going to be promotion of the year.
Yeah. That's just happening. Okay,
Yeah.
just accept that one.
Then we'll probably get back into USWA. I don't foresee much interesting happening in WrestleMania season to talk about this year, honestly. I think it's going to be Cody and Roman, and who cares?
How are they gonna work that? Like, how are they gonna get to that?
Roman's just going to show up and they're going to give it to him.
You could make it kind of interesting if you turned Cody heel, but I don't think he'll do that.
I think it'll happen.
Yeah.
Not gonna do that.
That is it for us for 2025. Thank you for joining us as always. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will catch you at the start of next year.